on HDFC Bank and on TCS. We did speak about HDFC Bank at length in the previous segment, so I'll take the TCS one, Ujjwal. Ujjwal is saying that he's holding 30 shares of TCS at about 3,600 rupees per share. So what should he do, Kunal? How are the charts looking for TCS?
The short-term query, you should definitely look to book out profits on TCS. My sense is that many of these IT stocks, in fact, the IT index is getting into a cyclical or rather a corrective phase for itself. And I think if that happens, even the bellwether stocks like TCS, they could go into a short-term correction for themselves. So if you're sitting onto good profits on the stock, either you can trail your stop losses to say 3750, 3780 levels on TCS, or else a much better strategy would be to try and look to book out profits over here.
All right, this one's coming in from Raghu from Bengaluru. He's holding on to ITC Shahina at levels of 270 rupees per share. 860 is what he has. And he's wondering whether to average his buy price at this current level. What strategy should he follow?
Well, I think he can definitely average at current levels, given the fact that there is a lot of I think initiatives that ITC is taking to revitalize, I would say, its own price performance. And I think if one averages at current levels, because the stock is available at a very attractive valuation, which it has for a long time, but given the initiatives that the company is taking, I think it would make sense to average at current levels.
All right, this one is from Arvind, and he wants a view on Awadh Sugar that he's bought at 310 rupees per share. He's saying he can hold for the next 1 year, but he wants to know whether he should continue to stay put or book profits or exit this counter. Also, he wants to know how are all the sugar sectors going up. Is it good to invest now in in other stocks in the sugar space? Shaheen, I'll come to you with this query. Do you track Awadh Sugar? And if you do, what should Arvind do with his holding? And what's happening in the sugar? Very sweet gains coming in for that particular sector. Even today, you have all the counters actually soaring upwards of about 5%. So do you think it's time to look at some fresh buying in the sugar space?
Yes, and even Awadh Sugar actually has given a very sharp price performance in the last, I would say, few weeks also. But one should continue holding even at current levels. The stock is extremely bullish, and the overall sugar sector is also looking extremely good, given the sugar prices are moving up. And also, we hear that there is actually likely to be, there's not going to be too much of a surplus sugar production for the current year. So one can hold and add in other sugar stocks also, given the fact that the whole sector looks good for the next 6 months to a year.
Okay. Would you like to, Shahina, mention a couple of those names, sugar stocks, just so that our viewers, you don't make a mistake?
You can look at that. Definitely, you have good upside that is likely to be in Balrampur Chini. That is one of the stocks I like. Other than Awadh Sugar also looks very good. So you can continue holding Awadh Sugar also and add Balrampur Chini.
We've got a question coming in from Murli Mohan from Palakkad, and he's asking Kunal about Solar Industries, which he bought at levels of 2,260. I was looking at the chart. It's currently trading above that price, 2,337 right now on the ticker. Should he hold on to this one, or should he sell or switch rather into something like a Deepak Nitrite?
Well, I think it's a bit of a tricky one because Solar Industries, the only catch with the stock, Alex, is that it's a very thinly volume traded counter. So the liquidity is the major issue into these kind of names, and I'm not sure, with the kind of quantity which the viewers would have bought, whether if the stock gets into a downward trend for itself, exiting the stock would probably become a bit more challenging as compared to a stock like Deepak Nitrite. So purely based on liquidity front, I would of course suggest a switch. But then I think at this point of time, the positioning of the viewer in terms of sectors have to be very, very interesting. I for one believe that the banking stocks are far more attractive at current levels, and I believe many of these banking stocks, they hold potential for very strong upside given a time frame of at least 6 months to 12 months plus. from current levels. So I know I'm deviating from the original question on Deepak Nitrite, but I think at current levels it's far more prudent to shift from such low volume stocks like Solar Industries into high quality stocks, specifically in the banking sector.
This one is from Sapna, Kunal, and this one is for you. She wants a view on Timken India. She's already holding some shares at around 1830 rupees per share. So what should she do with this holding, and what sort of levels that she should keep an eye out on?
See, if the viewer is not in a hurry in terms of booking out profits or in any urgency in terms of liquidating, then I believe the viewer can look to hold on to the stock. It's a phenomenal stock. It's done quite well month after month. You look at the month after month charts for Timken India, and I think after just maybe a couple of months of blip in the last 18 months, the stock has done exceptionally well for itself. So it looks to be a stock which is in a fine fettle in terms of long-term uptrend. I would suggest a hold on the stock.
Kunal, coming back to you on Intellect Design Arena, do you have coverage? If so, we've got a viewer, Sanjay Mishra, who's asking if he can hold on to his acquisition. He bought at levels of 786. He can hold on for 2 months.
But, I believe the IT stocks are getting into a bit of a churn for themselves, where possibly many of these IT names, large caps as well as mid caps, they could get into a correction. Now, Intellect has already fallen from your initial purchase price. I would suggest that keep a stop loss on the trade, and assuming if the stock doesn't bounce back, say over the next 1 to 2 weeks, I believe it's prudent enough to try and exit and look at stop loss, say closer to 700 on closing basis. That would also coincide with the 200 DMA for Intellect Design.
Right, and staying with the IT sector, like Kunal has mentioned, a lot of churn that we are seeing in the IT sector. Azma Khan has Mastech at around 3,025 rupees per share. She wants to know what should she do. Shahina, I'll come to you on this one. On Mastech, mild correction from the buy level, but I'm sure that when you see sort of a correction or a sell-off in one particular sector, you tend to get a bit jittery. So what should Azma do? Make sense to stay put with Mastech?
Suggest she stays put with Mastech. For the medium term, the stock still looks quite good, and I would say that it is possible that the stock will bounce back to the 3,200 type of levels in the medium term. So please hold on.
Shaina, do you have coverage on INEOS Styrolution? If so, we've got a viewer, Nawaz from Lucknow, who's bought at levels of 1778 and is wondering whether to hold or to sell at this juncture. He says he can hold for at least a year.
Sorry, I don't have coverage on that.
Come to you on the charts. If you have coverage on INEOS Styrolution, BSE listed from what I can see, should he hold on for a year?
I think it's also NSE listed, Alex, and I think that's again, fall back to the same old point that it's an illiquid name, illiquid counter. The average daily volumes for the stock is almost, like for example, today the volumes are just about 8,200 odd shares on the NSE for the stock. So that remains to be a big question mark. I would suggest that it's the best time to switch out from these, mid-cap names towards top quality stocks. So I think in that aspect would go back to the same theme which I highlighted earlier, that sell this kind of a mid-cap name, low liquid stocks and get back into quality. ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, these are phenomenal stocks available at good prices and good risk reward from current juncture.
Right, this one is coming in from Sagar. He wants a technical view on IGL as well as MGL. The only reason why I'm taking both of these counters because they are actually in the same sector. So Kunal, this one is for you. He's saying he shorted 10 lots each in futures, IGL from 500 levels and MGL from 999 levels. So he wants to know, should he book profits at current market price or are you witnessing or do you foresee any further downside?
Well, I think MGL is starting to reverse and show signs of reversal. Now from 840 levels, the stock is already at 890. And since the viewer is shorted at 900 odd levels, I think it's coming very closer to its cost price. So that's the key. When you are in the money, when you are sitting in good profits, you have to try and ensure that you trail your stop losses so that the stock doesn't reverse and you sit at a position where your entire profit gets eroded. So that's the one very important lesson in terms of trading. I would suggest that you could probably look to book out MGL because the stock is coming very close to your cost price. For IGL, I would suggest keep a trailing stop loss. At current levels, the stock, which I think is at 465 odd, you can keep a trailing stop loss of 475, 480 on IGL, and if the stock fails to cross that, you can continue to hold on. But if it manages to cross about that 475 mark odd, then I believe it could be time for reversal for even stocks like IGL as well.
Okay, just a quick word. If you're sending us a query, do tell us what your name is and what your time frame is, and we will attempt to take it. We're not guaranteeing that all questions will get answered. This one's for you, Shaina. We've got Selva Pandi from Tamil Nadu, who's bought MRF at levels of 81,000 1 year ago, and wondering whether to hold on or not. He's saying that patience is running out, and also generally about tire stock. Should they prefer MRF or move to something else?
Oh, well, I think in the medium term, the stock is looking a bit bearish. Given the overall, there's a demand, there is a supply constraint for the OEM sector for cars, especially given the raw material constraints that they are facing. And I think MRF is likely to remain in this range for some time. So he could possibly shift to some other sector. I think the tire sector is likely to see some bit of consolidation, and especially MRF. So he should probably shift to something like a banking, ICICI Bank in my view, or HDFC Bank that we discussed earlier.
All right, this one is from Abhijit, and he's saying I'm holding decent quantity of Hathway cables. He's invested for the longer term. He wants a long-term perspective on the stock, and is it good to accumulate more? What's your take on Hathway cables, Shahina? Do you think that makes sense for one to be invested in this particular stock for the longer term?
Yeah, I think the stock has actually done pretty well in the medium term, and there's a lot happening in terms of the sector, which is actually positive for Hathway cables. So I would suggest that the investor continues to hold Hathway cables for the medium to longer term.
Okay, Shaina, back to you on Canara Bank. We've got Prakash from Bengaluru who's asking whether he should hold on to his acquisition. He's got 400 shares at levels of 211 and he's looking to hold for the long term. Should he square off his position or should he hold on?
I think from here on does look like it can give a further upside. The stock does have a bullish chart. Also, I think in terms of performance, the numbers are likely to be much better than what we've seen in the past. But if one is really a long-term holder, I would say one can look to switch in a good bounce from here into SBI, which I believe is one of the best in the PSU segments. And if one is holding a PSU bank, it's best to be holding SBI for the long term. But as of now, he can continue holding Canara Bank in my view.
Okay, this one is coming in from Vaibhav, and he wants to know, is it right time to actually add alkyl amines to the portfolio for the longer term? What's your take, Shahina? Do you think now is the time to add alkyl amines in your portfolio?
Yeah, I think you can add. The chemical sector is doing well, and especially given that there are a lot of issues with China, I think the Indian chemical sector is likely to continue to benefit from it. Alkyl amines is likely to do much better. I think even from here, the chart looks pretty bullish, and I would say that one can even look at something like a 4,200 if you're holding for the medium to longer term. So one can add alkyl amines from here. You can definitely keep a stop loss. Keep a stop loss of say close to 3,200. And add.
Okay, Shahina as well as Kunal, this is time to hit the rapid fire segment. You know the drill. So I will start with you, Kunal. DCM Shriram Industries bought at levels of 103.55. This is a question from Puneet. He's asking about a very short term view as early as possibly tomorrow. He's looking for a target of 110. Should he hold on?
Yeah, you can look to hold on.
Alright, this one is also for you, Kunal, from Shailaja. Can I buy Tube Investments at current market price for the short term?
stock which is more good for longer term play. So I would suggest that if you can tweak your time horizon to long term, then you can look to buy Cube investment.
Okay, Shahina, Ashok Leyland, Pratik Roy wants to know, he's been holding for the last 2 to 3 months, but he's not too happy at the way the stock has moved. Should he continue holding?
Yes, he should continue holding. The stock looks bullish for me.
Manoj wants to know whether it's the right time to enter Infosys and Wipro, either one of them. Kunal, do you think it's the right time to enter them?
Really, as I said earlier, that IT stocks are getting into a downward trend. Waiting would be a better idea.
Okay, Ravi from the UAE has purchased IDFC First Bank, 1,000 shares at 47, asking whether he can hold for a target of 60 to 70 in 6 to 7 months, 6 to 12 months rather. Kunal, should he hold?
Absolutely, I think you should definitely look to hold.
Okay, Costa wants to know at what levels can he look to buy Prince Pipes. Do you think right now it's the right time to buy it? What do you say, Kunal?
The stock is getting into a consolidation. Last 7-8 months, it's gotten to a tight range for itself. So I think you can probably try and take use of this consolidation closer to 700, where the current market price is. Then look to buy.
Would you hold, I'm guessing you would say yes, but would you hold on to Mphasis and Tata Elxsi? This is a question from Aarti. Kunal, this is for you.
Well, I would suggest to maybe book out profits over here for the IT names, mid-cap IT names, if you're sitting on to good profits on both of these stocks.
Alright, and with that we come to the end of the rapid fire. Must say the show, this segment actually flew by today, but thank you Kunal as well as Shahina as always joining us on the show, resolving viewer queries as well as giving your take on HDFC Bank. And we will slip into a short break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. So stay tuned, more on the other side, don't go anywhere.
देखो 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 नया टीवी देखो aha got the veggies from Chotu shop. He gives the right rate.
Yes, Papa.
Decided 55-inch TV on this wall.
Oh, super. I'll write out the check tomorrow.
No, you don't. I will with my own money.
Oh, wow. How come?